Good morning, children. Today, in English, in class 11, we continue the chapter Ranga'S marriage. Yesterday, we had left where he was remembering how things were different 10 years ago. Nobody knew English. There were very few people who actually were familiar with the language. But today, things have changed and it is commonly heard and spoken by the people. Now, what has happened is disgraceful. Disgraceful, one can say, something to be ashamed of. The other day, I was in Ranga'S house when they bought a bundle of firewood. So, the narrator, that is Shama, says that he visited Ranga'S house and he was there. And Ranga'S' son came out to pay for it. That is, that the bundle of wood firewood which had been purchased by them. So his son came to make a payment for it. He asked the woman, "How much I give you?" That meant that how much money was she to be paid. 4 pice, she said. Now, pice is a coin that used to be used earlier on in our country. The boy told her he did not have any change. So when she said that she asked for 4 pice, the boy told her that he had a little problem because he did not have the change and asked her to come the next morning. Now, she was not familiar with the word change. The poor woman did not understand the English word change and went away muttering to herself. Now, the lady was not at fault. She did not understand the word change, what it meant. So she went muttering, meaning complaining and mumbling something, and she thought that maybe he is not willing to pay. I too did not know. Later, when I went to Ranga'S house and asked him, I understood what it meant. So he says, I came to know from Ranga what it meant. So that was what he talked about, the use of the language. This priceless commodity, the English language, was not so widespread in our village a decade ago. The priceless commodity, that is valuable knowledge. English is something very necessary today. It was not so widespread, means it was not so commonly spoken in our village a decade ago. A decade ago, 10 years ago, that things were completely different. That was why Ranga's homecoming was a great event. And when Ranga returned from Bangalore, that is why his homecoming, that is returning after a length of time, certain period of time. It was a great event because everybody was curious, everybody was excited to see him. People rushed to his doorstep announcing, "The accountant's son has come." So there was curiosity among all the people. They called out to each other. They rushed to his house and to his doorstep till the door. Thankfully, they did not enter the house. And calling each other that the accountant's son has come from Bangalore, that is. The boy who had gone to Bangalore for his studies is here, it seems. So they called out each other to come and see the boy himself. And come, Ranga is here, let's go and have a look. So everybody was so excited, they were all thrilled and they were curious also. So all of them rushed to his house. Attracted by the crowd, I too went and stood in the courtyard and asked, "Why have all these people come? There's no performing monkey here." So attracted by the crowd, that meant that naturally when everybody was rushing towards his house, everybody had collected over there. So naturally, the narrator said that he was also wanting to know what has happened. So he asked somebody next to him that why have all these people assembled together, and is there there's no monkey show going on over here, there's no performance going on here, so what is the reason for the people to have collected in such a large number? A boy, a fellow without any brains, said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "What are you doing here then?" Now, there are some people who have to comment or who have to, speak up without even giving it a second thought. So he says that, "What are you doing here then?" That meant that he was being very rude about it, and he told him that if there's no monkey show going on out here, then what are you doing out here? A youngster immature and without any manners. That speaks about his manners towards immaturity, right? That he is immature and that he does not have any manners. He could have remained quiet only, but he thought it necessary to comment, which was not very polite. Thinking that all these things were now of the past, I kept quiet. That is, probably now the youngsters are not very courteous, they are not very polite. So the narrator decided to just keep quiet and not say anything at all. Seeing so many people there, Ranga came out with a smile on his face. And when Ranga came to know that all the people had come outside his house, he also came out. Had we all gone inside, the place would have turned into what people call the black hole of Calcutta. So he says that had we all gone inside, naturally there would not have been space enough to accommodate everybody in Ranga's house. Thankfully, they all stayed out at his doorstep only. Ranga is the one who came out. If this had happened, that means if all the people had entered his house, the people would have turned into what people call the black hole of Calcutta. Now, black hole of Calcutta is an incident around 1756 was the time when many prisoners, these were the English prisoners by the Nawab, they were about 146 prisoners and they were all put in a small cell and they died due to suffocation. Out of the total number, only 23 survived. So that is what is referred to the black hole of Calcutta. So thankfully everybody remained out, but yes, they were definitely eager to see Ranga for themselves. Thank God it did not. Everyone was surprised to see that Ranga was the same as he had been 6 months ago when he had first left our village. And to people's relief, everybody was glad. They were surprised also, but at the same time, they were glad that he was just the same. There was no change in him at all. An old lady who was near him ran her hand over his chest, looked into his eyes and said, "The Janevar is still there." Now, among the Indians, according to the caste system, the Janevar is a thread that is worn by the Brahmins. So, he was still wearing that. That meant that old lady was trying to find out that whether he had still maintained the customs and traditions among the people. So that is what he had. He had not given up following all those traditions. He hadn't lost his caste. That meant he did not, one can say, break the rules or traditions as such. She went away soon after that. Ranga laughed. And after she was satisfied, she went away from there. Ranga did not comment anything, he simply laughed. Once they realized that Ranga still had the same hands, legs, eyes and nose, the crowd melted away like a lump of sugar in a child's mouth. And it is the simplicity of the people who were curious to know if there was any change in Ranga, but there was no. He was still wearing the Janevar. He still had the same hands and the same eyes and legs and nose. So they melted away, means they disappeared from there. They left the place and like a lump of sugar. Now, like a lump of sugar, that is like, this is a simile. It's a comparison that just as a lump of sugar melts in a child's mouth, in the same way, once they were satisfied, they all gradually disappeared. I continued to stand there. That is the narrator. After everyone had gone, I asked, "How are you, Rangappa? Is everything well with you?" So he now had a personal conversation with him. It was only then that Ranga noticed me. Until now, naturally in the crowd, he had not noticed him, but now he did. He came near me and did a namaskar, respectfully saying, "I am all right with your blessings." So he came closer to him and he greeted him. And how did he greet him? He greeted him by touching his feet and did his namaskar to him. So that shows his courtesy and politeness towards elders. Thank you.